In this video, we'll be learning about how to prepare a flood risk map in ArcGIS. So let's get started. So this is my Arc map. Before that, let us understand the theoretical background behind the flood risk. Risk can be calculated in different ways. Okay, the most common and the easiest one is defining it as the function of hazard and vulnerability. So we can calculate risk as hazard times vulnerability. Okay, first of all, how to calculate hazard? So in order to calculate hazard, we have to look at two factors. One is the depth of the inundation, and next is the velocity of the flow. Okay, sometimes we can use only depth if the velocity is not significant, but if velocity is also prominent, then we have to consider both depth and velocity. So first of all, we'll calculate hazard as function of depth and velocity. We'll reclassify the hazard as low, moderate, significant, and extreme, and assign them the weightage value, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and afterwards we prepare the vulnerability map. Okay, so for the vulnerability map, again, there are different methods. The most easiest one is using the land use land cover map and assigning the weightage value. We provide different weightage value for different land uses, right? For example, the water body, they are least vulnerable, so weightage value would be less, say 0 or 1. So agricultural land, yes, they are more vulnerable than the water bodies, but less than that of settlement area. That's why they are assigned greater than the water body but less than that of settlement area. And settlement area, they are most vulnerable to the flood, so they have to be assigned higher weightage value. Now this weightage value, they are subjective. You can change the range as per your requirement, as per the field condition, as per the hazard. So it's not that there is a particular method and only that method has to be applied. So there are multiple ways. Some people use the fragility functions, some prepare the vulnerability range. Okay, so there are different methods, but the easiest one we're using is the land use land cover map method. Okay, so let's go to ArcGIS. So first of all, I have this depth map for 50-year return period flood. Similarly, I have velocity map and the 50-year vulnerability map. So the depth and velocity map we need for hazard. Okay, how do we get the depth map? And there are different sources. You can get the flood depth from satellite images also, but the velocity, I think for that you have to undergo the modeling. So how to perform the flood modeling, I'll provide the link for the videos for 2D and 1D haycraft flood analysis in the description box, so you can check it out if you're not familiar with it. So after the modeling is performed, we get this depth map and velocity map. Okay, so I have here for 50-year return period flood. So what I do, first of all, as per our theory, is we first of all calculate the depth and vulnerability as a hazard map. Okay, for that we have to go to the raster calculator, because we are working in the raster. So let's go to Arc Toolbox and go to Spatial Analyst tool, and here you navigate to Map Algebra, double click on raster calculator. Okay, so you can see the layers and variables. Okay, what I do is, we need depth times velocity. So what I double click on the depth layer and asterisk, and double click on the velocity layer. Okay, so you provide the name. For example, I'm giving the name as hazard and press OK. So our hazard map is prepared. You can see the highest and lowest value of the hazard map. What do you do next is, we have to classify the hazard. Okay, you can see the range between 0 to 0.5 is classified as low hazard, and accordingly it has been classified as moderate, significant, and extreme. and each of these are provided the weightage value 1, 2, 3 and 4 respectively. Okay, so let's reclassify this prepared hazard map. For that we have to go to Arc Toolbox, and within the spatial analysis tool, go to the reclass, expand it and select reclassify. In the input raster, you can drag and drop the newly created hazard map like this and click on classify. We need to modify the classification, right? Click on classify. Okay, so right now we need 4 classes, so select 4, and our break values would be 0 to 5, 2. Okay, first value would be 0.5, the next one would be 2, the third one is 10. Okay, then click OK. So you can see the weightage value for this range is given as 1, and accordingly 2, 3 and 4. So it would be my reclassified hazard, and I'll be clicking OK. Now this is how the reclassified hazard map looks like. So you can see if I select this identify tool and click anywhere in the cells, for example here, you can see the pixel value 4. The pixel value 4 means it is extremely hazardous, right? Similarly, if I click anywhere, for example here, it's 3. So accordingly, now the individual values have changed into the range values, right? We have assigned the weightage. Okay, since we are done with the hazard map, we'll move next to vulnerability. Okay, so you can have different vulnerability maps, right? As I've said earlier, it would be land use land cover map. For the purpose, I'm using the ESRI land use land cover map. Okay, first of all, you have to assign weightage to the different land uses. As I've said earlier, the weightage value might differ for different land use cover. Okay, in my case, I have water body, agricultural land and settlement areas, so I will be using them as provided 1, 3 and 5 respectively. Now again, these are not something fixed values. You can change them according to your wish, as per your criteria. These are subjective values. Okay, so first of all, reclassify these land cover map on the basis of weightage value. Okay, I have already reclassified it, and make sure that when you are performing the risk estimation, the hazard and vulnerability map must have the same size of the pixel, right? The resolution must be same. If it differs, then that would create trouble in the analysis. Okay, and don't forget to provide weightage to the land use land cover classes, otherwise it won't work. The next step, what we do is, now we try to estimate the risk as per our theory. Risk will be calculated as hazard times vulnerability. Okay, hazard means the reclassified hazard. Okay, and vulnerability means the reclassified the land use land cover map. Okay, for that, let's again go to raster calculator, map algebra and raster calculator. Here I will select the reclass hazard. Okay, make sure you don't select the hazard, you have to select the reclassified hazard because it has been provided the weightage value. Okay, times the vulnerability map. Okay, and let's save it as a risk. Click on OK. Now we have the risk map. The risk map is prepared, but you see there are a lot of values. They range from 1 to 32. Okay, and you can see we have to reclassify it as per our classification. Less than and equal to 4, then it is low risk. If it is within 4 and less than 8, It's moderate, greater than or equal to 8, it would be extreme. So let's reclassify these scores on the basis of this theoretical background. Okay, so I'd go to reclass and reclassify. That would be risk. I click on classify. My classes would be 3 classes. And the break values would be 4, 8, right? 4, 8 and greater than 8. Okay, I click on OK. So accordingly these ranges would be assigned values 1, 2 and 3 respectively. 1, it represents the low risk, 2 is like moderate risk, and 3 is the highly risk area. Okay, we click on OK. So it's been reclassified. I just want to change its appearance. Okay, let me change its appearance. For that, double click in the layer and go to symbology and unique values. I'll be selecting 1 is our low risk, so for that I'll be selecting blue color. For moderate, I'll be selecting, let's say, yellow, and for the high risk area, high risk zone, let's say red. Okay, and clicking OK. So it looks like this. So this is our flood risk map. So the red zone, it means these are the high risk areas. The blue zone, the blue pixels, they mean not so risky areas, and these yellow zones, they are moderately risk areas. Okay, now let's see how this map fits in the Google Earth map. Okay, so for that I'm going to QGIS and I am activating my Google Earth image. Here it is, and let me activate this reclassified risk. Okay, you can see it's been overlaid in the Google Earth map, and the settlements, and you can see the red pixels, the high risk areas. The blue pixel means it's just water body, no problem with it. Okay, but the red one, they are high risk areas, so people in these areas, the settlements, they are at risk, so they need to be more aware about it. Okay, that's how we calculate the flood risk map. I hope it is hopeful. That's all.